Hello. There's a lot of people here. Hello everyone, how you doing? Sorry to make you wait. I'm just gonna do a brief introduction and then I need to solve some things and I will come back if you guys have any questions. But pretty much I'm here to introduce some things that, sorry, but World Cup.
Football is life.
That's games decide who's Brazil is gonna play against. So
yeah, it's important.
One I hear, one I cultural. But just to do a brief introduction, I think you guys all know that's one of my biggest dream to have a sports psychology department at Samba. I always tell people, didn't have the only reason, one of the most important reasons, actually I can even be a little bit more straightforward about that. If it was not because I take care of myself, I do therapy, I never was able to open Samba. I do therapy for pretty much 7 years, and I wish I did some sports psychology on my youth career. I have so many fears, guys, so many doubts, you know, so many things I need to share with people and talk about. And I pretty much just rely on my dad on that. My dad was a former soccer player, defender, very grumpy guy. Always the answer to me was something like, no, you need to be a man, you need to do this. And never pretty much, helping me, you know what I mean, to pass through this time. So I know how important it is. And I always mention to people, on my times when I tried to become a soccer player, let's say 90s and 2000s, the most important thing for you to become a soccer player, by far, it's mental. You have a strong mental. It's very hard, guys, mentally. It's a group of a lot of men, you know what I mean, like fighting for positions. And also technical was before. Nowadays, unfortunately, still the mental, but also physicality, how much ground you can cover. And that is one of the reasons we opened Samba, to try to change this, to try to create more technical players. But more important than the player, they only gonna show his technique if he believes himself has a good mentality. I'm not talking just about winning mentality, I'm talking about life principle mentality, you know? Something's a lot more deeper than that. So I always wanna make sure we're gonna taking care of this part. I went after several people, I never found the right people on that. And we did a workshop. Actually, San Diego FC are doing a lot of workshops with us. Some people who are interested to learn, to grow, or to discuss about development, about how we can make things better here, soccer-wise. And we met Carlos, perfect connection right away. The way we understand how things should be is exactly the way he understood too. It was an easy connection, perfect connection. We never have any intentions to make any money with that, just the opposite. Some of you know the idea of Samba, and we finally trying to accomplish that is go after grants and make free for all of you guys, for all the kids. I want to go against the system, go against the pay to play, and really this way provide the players the right tools to become a soccer player. And I hope pretty soon we can have all the sports psychology department being financial for those foundations, those companies, and we don't need to charge for you guys. But right now, this is pretty much impossible. But I promise, first grant we receive is gonna be for sports psychology. Okay, so you guys have my word on that. San Diego FC psychology. Psychologist, how I say?
Mental performance.
Mental performance. So nothing better than him to run this for us. Guys, honestly, just how I said before, this is a dream come true to introduce Carlos Coto.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Question for the group. Out of everyone, I know that the majority of you all got an email, like an invitation email for this program. So you were able to see the email. any of you all already signed up? Or I have a couple of hands. Yeah. Would you mind, I'm just like very curious, not just for like the rest of the group, but even for me as well. Why did you sign up?
Because I find it very important because it's a lot of pressure on the kids, playing sports. Mentally, physically, but the mental part of it is huge, and with everything they go through, you just want to keep them strong and not overwhelmed and not break them, and you want them to enjoy the sport, enjoy it, and not, just want them to be mentally strong and happy, and
That's great. So I'm gonna try to repeat what you said because I noticed that you don't have a mic.
Yeah.
But for the recording, like I really want the people in the recording to realize what are some of the things that parents here are saying. So what I'm hearing is that the kiddos go through a lot of pressure, not only in sport, probably even in school as well. There's a lot of things that might feel overwhelming, and being able to do something like this is going to help them kind of like navigate those pressures, but also understanding that they're playing a sport. So like to also have that joy for playing the sport and not necessarily to lose the joy of the sport. Does that sound about right?
yes.
Okay. Anyone else that have signed up? Would you mind sharing a little bit too?
Yeah, just for my particular son, he gets very defeated and gets in his head, and this just seemed like something that could help him with that.
Yeah.
And again, just what she said, to echo that, is just to love to play and not feel bad about himself if he has a bad practice.
So like wanting to maintain the joy of playing the game, and our kiddo just feels like just gets defeated quite easily at times. Just by a raise of hands, do we feel like our kids sometimes also get defeated, or whether it is to be too hard on themselves at times when they're playing the game? Just a show of hands, who feels like it? Mom, can you turn around? Can we maintain the hands? Yeah, okay, that's fantastic. One of the reasons why I do this type of like questioning and raising our hands and mom turn around is because it's so normal to be so hard on ourselves. Even just for us as adults, I would like to see a show of hands who sometimes feel like they're being too hard on themselves. Okay, so that is part of our human nature, being too hard on ourselves, sometimes looking around and this player is doing better than I am, and so like now I'm comparing myself to that player. Developmentally, sometimes we get to those ages, right? Like we get to like those teenage years, 13, 14, and we start looking around even more, and we're comparing ourselves quite a bit, right? So like those are some of like the reasons why a couple of y'all have already signed up, right? Like to be able to manage pressures better, to be able to manage that overwhelming feeling better as well, and to just continue to maintain the love for the game. Anyone else has signed up already, or anyone else is like, yes, I know that this is what my kid needs because of X, Y, and Z? Yes.
I do. I just want some clarity on like logistics before I commit to something. But
Yes.
I'm totally bought in on the program.
Can you share a little bit more why you're bought in?
Because I think it's the same reason as everyone else. Like, my kiddo gets in his head sometimes. Maybe less with like his performance, but sometimes with the coaching, the things that are said in front of his peers on the field, that makes him feel like he's not good enough. And so I think we've looked at other things like mentors and like even trying to help him with skills like speed and agility, different stuff to help him in that capacity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm like totally sold on sports psychology. So
Yeah. It sounds like receiving feedback, right? And like just waiting to see what is the coach gonna say about my performance. And if receiving feedback is something that I'm taking personally and not necessarily objectively, it can be quite heavy. So I can imagine. I hear that some of the questions are more like on the logistical side of things. And before we get into like a lot of like the questions, and I wanna make sure that all questions are welcomed, all questions are answered. But just before that, just for like the people in the presentation, and then even for you all, like I would like to just introduce myself for a couple of minutes. I would love to share why is it that I created this specific program in relation to some of the experiences that I've seen others people have. And then, yes, after that we can get into questions. But one more in the back.
Yeah, I'd like to share.
Go for
I
it.
think, especially drawing from personal experience as playing sports growing up, I remember the exact words my coaches tell me. You know, whereas my mom or dad, I don't really remember. I remember being like frustrated or something like this with them.
Yeah.
But the coaches, I remember their exact words to this day. I remember that my coach told me that. He would say all the time, have a positive mental attitude. And whenever I started doing that, I just remember that till now.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for children to get a voice of authority outside of their parents that they can trust and listen to.
Yeah, and I think you and I were connecting just before about like how special this place is, right? Because we know where Samba has their heart. They have the heart in the right place. We go to different places and we can see that like coaches, maybe they don't have their heart in the right place, and maybe they're bringing a lot of the baggage that they have and they're putting it on the kids, right? But one of the things that we know Samba is trying to do really, really well is to be able to coach from that passion aspect and being able to develop the kids not just as players, but as human beings, right? And one of the things that I think you're talking about is that power dynamic. What the coach tells you when you're a player, that's gonna stay with you, and it's gonna stay with you, example, right? Like for a really, really, really long time. One of the things that I think is really important is to now be able to give the kids the tools to receive that feedback, right? And not necessarily feel like it's something that is going to follow me for the rest of my life. It's words. Words come and go, but we have to give them the tools to be able to see it that way. Because at that point, when coach is making the decision of whether I'm going to play or not, it can feel quite heavy. How about just a tiny little bit of a presentation? Then I'll tell you all a little bit about the program. We talk logistics, and then what I'm just the most interested in is really all of your questions. Sound good? Thumbs up or a smile or something, right? Like. We're all humans, I guess. Well, yeah, my name is Carlos Coto, and I was born and raised in Costa Rica. I played soccer my entire life. It was a sport that I used to love the most. And I used to play the violin as well. So like my parents wanted me to play an instrument and to play a sport. So it was the violin and soccer. Similar to you, I can remember to this day what my violin teacher and my violin instructor used to tell me. And you know, in performing arts, like the pressure is really hard, and perfectionism, like if you're playing something and it's not necessarily perfect, it's wrong. And so the feedback is usually it's wrong. And so you get to start learning a lot of the things that maybe you're not doing well, and you start focusing more on the things that you're not doing so well. That translated a little bit more to the soccer field as well, because when I was growing up, I had a couple of like really strong voices of a coach where we can tell that they were like a little bit of a dictator on the field, right? And so that can be quite challenging for somebody that is, 9, 10, 11 years old. One of the things that I think I was very blessed with was a really, really fantastic mom. She's my angel to this day. And the way that she used to tell me that what my coach used to tell me is not what defines me, what my professor used to tell me is not what defines me, is what I do with that information is something that also stuck with me quite a bit. And so I think I was like 9 years old when I realized that I wanted to do sports psychology, because it was one of those things where I was like, there has to be a figure that can help the performer, the athlete, to be able to navigate all of these really big challenges that we all go through. Receiving feedback, which happens not only in sport, but it happens at school, with the professors, with the teachers. It's gonna happen in college, it's gonna happen in the workforce, right? So like, giving the tools to these kiddos to be able to receive feedback right now is critical for their life. It's not necessarily just critical right now. But yeah, I was able to understand that that was my path. I wanna do sports psychology, and at some point I'm gonna make that happen somehow. Had the chance to come to the United States and play soccer in college. So I played at a Division II school over in New York, and I played there for 4 years. So I moved when I was 18 from Costa Rica to New York. I was there for 4 years. Then I made my way to Denver, and I got to do my master's in applied sport and performance psychology. And I was studying under some of like the bigger names in the field, people that have worked in professional sports for a long time, Olympic sports for a long time as well. Fantastic experience. And then right before graduation, I had my first professional opportunity. That was with the Minnesota Twins in baseball. So I had the blessing to be able to start my career right away in professional sports, and I was working with the major league team during the 2020 season all the way till the 2024 season. So it was 5 seasons with the team. I had the chance to just learn a lot about high performance and about, you know, what is it that these athletes actually go through when they have to train on a daily basis and they have to perform on a daily basis. And then at the end of 2024 is when San Diego FC started opening all of the positions that they were going to have. And I wanted to go back to the sport that I love because I could not care less about baseball. And so it was a great opportunity to be able to join a brand new team, an expansion team. So like there was literally nothing. We didn't even have the facilities. Everything was starting from scratch. And I just really wanted to understand what does that mean to be able to be the first, you know, mental performance coach at a club, you know, the first ever. You know, this club hopefully is going to be here for hundreds of years to come, and if I can be the first one to lay a nice foundation, I wanted to do that. But bringing it back to youth athletes, because that's also one of my passions, you know, like I, of course, love working with professional athletes, but they're the end product. They're good. You know, I'm really passionate about helping the kiddos, you know, anything from, you know, 9, 10 years old, all the way till 16, 17, when they're going through transitions, right? Whether it's middle school to high school, whether it is high school JV soccer to varsity soccer, or whether it is from like high school soccer to college, whether they play or not, it doesn't matter. I do see them as humans, you know? Like those little people that are running around there, like yes, they're playing the game, they're passionate, but at the end of the day, they're humans. And at some point, they're gonna have to transition also out of sport. And what does that look like? What skills have they learned when they were playing the sport that they can actually continue to progress in life? And so those are the things that I've always been very passionate about. Now, I also know that because I've been in this field for about 10 years now, is not a lot of people that are doing sports psychology at this level. Sports psychology usually is seen as a nice to have. Right now in professional sports, it's almost like a must. When I started, it was a nice to have. Now it's a must. Now it's like a nice to have in youth sports. No one's doing it, honestly. So when Vela and them like came to me and they were like, you know, like this is a really strong passion of ours. We see sports psychology as equally as important as everything else, if not more. I said, you are just talking my language. These guys are Brazilian, I'm Costa Rican, we're Latinos, we have like that connection too. And I was like, I fell in love with the program. I fell in love with the project. And just to know that there's parents that are so passionate about what they're passionate about, that's what I want to be around as well. And so a few years ago, it was about 3 years ago, when I started thinking, okay, I have all of these experiences of understanding what the professional level looks like. I have all these experiences of me having the opportunity to go through youth sports as well. I want to be able to create something that is going to bridge the gap, you know, to bridge the gap between what the kiddos are going through, because they're not professional athletes just yet. Most likely, a lot of them won't be able to be professional athletes, but that doesn't mean that we don't have the chance to be able to impact them now in an impact that is going to be long lasting as well. And so I ended up creating like 4 different courses. The way that I usually do it is 12 weeks per course. And if we think about 12 weeks per course, that's a full year of programming. Because my understanding is that if we do this consistently for over a year, and this is not something that I'm trying to sell as in like you guys have to commit for a year, because that's not the point. But it is just my own understanding of like when we create a full consistent program over a year of targeting very specific skills, that's when we get to see like a really, really big development. It's a long-term development. This is not a one session and then our kids are gonna be mentally tough for the rest of their lives, right? This is something that our brain just works exactly like our bodies does in terms of muscles. We have to train every day. We have to recover as much as we can. We have to do different skills, different exercises, because that's what's gonna get us to be able to develop long term. And so when I was thinking about this program, I was like, I'm gonna create 4 different courses to target different skills. The first one is going to be building a foundation. Everything that has to do with awareness, right? Like, it's really hard to work on something or change something if we're not aware of it. We want to target things like focus and concentration, right? Because if we're not focusing on the right things, let's say, for example, coach just gave me some strong feedback, and I am literally just focusing on the feedback, the ball is gonna go through me, and I'm just not even going to be able to, pass the ball or shoot because I'm thinking about something else. Or let's say, for example, we're losing the game and I'm getting defeated on myself because maybe I made a mistake, right? Like, our attention goes in a gazillion different directions. And if we don't train that, like, it gets messy. And I think sometimes what you get to see out there on the field when maybe we're distracted or we're not playing our best is not necessarily that something is wrong, it's just that we're distracted. So we have to be able to train our attention. So everything that has to do with focus, concentration, attention, but going beyond that, the other courses are getting a little bit more into like being able to become a leader. But to become a leader, we have to learn about ourselves first. I don't get to lead others if I don't learn about myself first. So being able to lead myself, what does that mean? Understanding what my values are as a human being, understanding what my motivation looks like, not only intrinsically for what I am motivated as a human being, but also what are some of the things that maybe people say or people do that motivate me as well, that I can start looking for and hunting a little bit, to then be able to lead others as well. And that actually includes a little bit of, communication tools, what talks about like the same point that we're talking about for the coaches, right? How do we get to communicate with the coach? How did the coach gets to communicate with me? Because even though these kiddos are young, sometimes we do want to give them the tools to be able to tell the coach what is helpful for them. Sometimes it's going to be, coach, you know what? When I make a mistake, if you just give me like a good, okay, let's go, come on, it's going to help me. But for others, that, okay, come on, let's go, puts a lot of pressure on them. And if they get to understand themselves a little bit more, they get to communicate that to the coach, which is really, really helpful. Now, that's a little bit of the program in terms of like what we're gonna be looking from a skills perspective. The other piece that I've been able to see working in these systems is that the athlete themselves, of course, are the ones that are on the field and playing, or on the court and playing. But they're not alone. The coach, the athletic director, the athletic trainer, the physical therapist, the dietitian, the mental performance consultant, all of them collaborate with the player for the player to be able to be at their best. Again, our kiddos are not necessarily at that level of athletic trainer, physical therapist, nutritionist, mental performance consultant. I understand that.
That's what I'm
Yes. 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 And that's what I wanted to get at. It's like, I know that you all are those people too, all of them. And so what I want to do as part of this program is to see you all and say, we're also gonna have sessions. And we're also gonna have like tools for you all to be able to feel more equipped, more supported, and just overall in a better place to be able to say, this is what my kiddo is going through, or this is what my kiddo wants to accomplish. How do I get to best support them in that journey? Because it's really hard to have like 5 different hats when you're just one person.
And I guarantee the psychology is the worst one, guys. It's hard to a parent to help the athletes, believe me. I don't know, somebody kind of long time ago told me like a percentage of successful athletes who has a mentor, has somebody behind, different for the parent to kind of guide them. And I think Carlos, the idea about sports psychology is filling up that role. And I always tell people, like Brazil right now has a huge problem. We developed Neymar amazing well as a soccer player, talent, creativity, everything, but we forgot to develop his person. So with 35 years old, he's still a teenager. And if Brazil doesn't win right now, it's a lot because he didn't have the right mentality, the right become a professional and work hard. So even if they're gonna become a soccer player or not, the personal development will be the most important one.
Yeah. So in terms of like the logistical piece, how we go about it is doing 4 sessions a month. Is once a week. All of these are virtual for the kiddos. So we can, as a group, for example, we can talk about what is the time that works best for everyone. It doesn't have to be specifically one day and at a one time. Of course, if we decide on moving forward and as a group, we can decide like that one day at that one time, you know, we can log that as the time for this group specifically. We can go it that way, but it is basically once a week, so 4 times a month. And then, as I was saying before, it's a 12-week cycle, so it's 3 months. It's 12 sessions total for the kids. For parents, what we try to do is to have 2 sessions in person. So for parents would be in person. And we can make it happen whether it is during one of the training sessions, as you all are right here, and instead of doing a presentation, it would just be like a session for you all. And what that looks like is giving you all tools from like an exercise standpoint, or maybe going into like, these are some of the challenges that we've been seeing lately with the team, with my kids specifically. Like we can do case studies, we can bring stories of the things that we see. So the program includes those 4 sessions a month, or the 12 sessions for the 3 months, plus 2 sessions for the parents as well. The sessions for the kids are 30 minutes on a weekly basis. What I usually ask for the kids to have is just a journal and a pen, because I'm gonna ask them to write a few things down, especially like some of the exercises, so that they can continue to do them on their own as well. It's still very interactive, so even though it's virtual and maybe they're like behind a computer, I do ask for the kids to be able to put their camera on. And what you're seeing from me right now, it's very low voice, and I'm talking to adults. But when I'm talking to the kids, it's just a little bit different, because I have to get them going, you know. And then for the parents, those 2 sessions, as I was saying, they're in person and very interactive. Today maybe feels a little more of like a presentation of sorts, but when we get into session, it's more like exercises. Let's do them together. Let's experience stuff, which we will experience something today as well. But I do want you all to know that what I've seen at the professional level of like, it's a team effort for the athlete. It's a team effort for the athlete here too. It's just that it's not necessarily all these practitioners. It's mom and dad. And mom and dad matter too. So that's kind of like what the program looks like. Would love to answer any questions. Would love to, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Everything sounds great. My question is, have you worked with kids this age? And the reason I ask, I see a lot of great coaches that do not know how to communicate with kids. And I just want to know, you have experience working with this age group?
Yeah, like my main job on a daily basis, like my full-time job has been in professional sports for the last 8 years. But like I started this business 3 years ago, and everything that I've been focusing on is those ages. Everything from 9 years old, 10 years old, all the way till 16, 17, because that's my passion. And so being able to connect with them and get to see them at their level, at their developmental stage, right? Because a lot of them, maybe they're just entering their teenage years. And that transition matters quite a bit, right? Like not talking to like a 9-year-old is not the same as talking to like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, in terms of like language, verbiage, the energy level that you bring, the little bit of sarcasm that you have to bring in here and there. But yeah, that's all of those ages we have done for the last 3 years, and it's fun. You know, it's like sometimes they are the ones that are bringing the energy, and it's great to see as well.
Okay, talk about age. I want to bring a subject to you guys. Like a regular kid in Brazil, Argentina, France, anywhere, any soccer country, we pretty much just play soccer for fun in the small space into 12, 13 years old. After that, we start to do some competitions, but it's not that many. Here in US, for money reason, that's the only point, because all the clubs makes a lot of money with those tournaments. It's very important for the clubs to make that money. It's the opposite. They start to pretty much compete with 7 years old, and whenever they get to 12, 13, I think more than 40% of the kids, they quit. And that's a huge mistake, like changing everything. And the biggest reason, usually what the players said, First is pressure from parents. Second one is commitment, too much commitment. They want to have fun with soccer, not go every single weekend, wake up 5:30 a.m. and come back at 9. And honestly, I don't think that's gonna change right now. So I really want you guys to thinking about that and thinking like how much pressure those kids they pretty much play soccer with coach. I want to talk about coaching with you guys after this, but with a coach, usually the coach telling them what to do. We here at Samba try to avoid, but pass, shoot, they're not even allowed to make decisions, or they play in a game situation with a lot of parents yelling and telling them go, and the other parents coaching the kid, telling them what to do. They're not ready for that pressure at all. Most of them, they're not ready for that pressure at all, and I can tell, without the pressure, you guys can watch the training session, they play, I guarantee you, 30% better. That's way too much. That's way too much. That's become more important than even the technique you have, you know? So, I want you guys to think about that, and that's something I spoke with Carlos. The parent education are very important. Now I have a 7 years old. I know how hard it is. Because you want to help, you want to, make him more tough. But I think we are going in the wrong way, and I really want to open that conversation between you guys and Carlos to make sure we're gonna touch that subject and make sure we're gonna try to help those kids right now because they're gonna need it, especially the way you want them to play. You want to play the beautiful soccer, the joga bonito, playing from the back, exchanging passes. If you don't have guts to do this, if you're not stronger here mentally, you're gonna kick the ball just playing like a kicking ball like you watch most soccer games here, okay?
It's 6:25, and I know that a couple of you all have to go. Do you both have any specific questions before? Yeah?
How are you going to separate the sessions? Are you going to do it by age group, like each team kind of thing?
That's a great question. And so everything would be per team. And I've been doing this for a few years, and maybe to your question too, like I wouldn't have all the kids in one Zoom session, because if I have like more than 8, more than 10, we lose the ability to be able to actually have a little bit of a discussion. So if a team usually has, the 16 players, usually that would be two different cohorts. I like to call them cohorts. And so what we would do is to have maybe 8 to 10 athletes per call, and that's what gives me and my consultants the opportunity to be able to be more alert at all the people in the call, and also be able to facilitate conversation. Because again, with these kiddos, it's never gonna be just a presentation. We lose them. It's usually more discussion based, examples, videos, games that we can play, even if it's virtual. And so it would be per team, in this case per age group, because age group is so important. I wouldn't have again a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old with a 15-year-old in the same call, because the approach is a little bit different as well. So it's per team. Usually the whole team would be divided into two to be able to have two different cohorts, and that's the way that we would divide the calls.
Do you do all the calls?
Yeah.
You're doing all of it?
For now, and specifically for this team, as we were talking about it, that would be mainly me.
Okay.
Yeah. Whenever we get to grow even more, and when the grant comes in and we have scaled up the program throughout the entire Samba organization, that's when I bring the other consultants that have worked with me for a couple of years.
Okay.
Is there a plan for when schedules change or someone has to miss? Right now, a lot of us are with multiple soccer teams, and we month to month change from Monday, Wednesday to Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for if we end up missing more than, or is it recorded, or is there?
Everything is recorded.
Okay.
So let's say for example, if you miss a couple, we'll be able to send those recordings every single week, so that you all can do it on your own time as well. And we also can we can try our best to be able to accommodate and make sure that everyone is able to see, to be there, right? Because that's the point. The point is not just to start something like this and all of a sudden I have 2 kids in the call and then the rest of them are not able to, we would make adjustments to be able to make sure that the majority of you all are in the call, like in this case, the kiddos. And if you miss one or two, like everything is recorded so we can send the recordings out too.
So are you looking for a minimum number to sign up, or you want the whole team to sign up? Is that, you know, like if only 4 of us say on the team, we definitely want to do it, are you going to say that when I'm not doing it for 4, I want all 16?
We're going to combine with other group.
Okay.
Yeah, but still keeping it correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the idea is, yes, like let's make sure that we have at least 8 on the cohort.
Okay.
Because developmentally as well, like that also helps. Let's say, for example, if I am one of the kids and I just have like a couple of other perspectives, it's only 3 perspectives to have. But if it's a group of like 8 to 10, then that's like 7, 8 more perspectives, and the growth that they go through is even higher than if we only have like 1 or 2 kids in the call. If the entire team doesn't get to sign up, as Vela was saying, like we combine with other teams, but keeping it like no more than 1 or 2 years above and down to be able to keep it close to their developmental age group. Any other question? Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about your philosophy. So a lot of it has to do with building like good character on and off the court, but also do you have like a certain philosophy about like how to bring out the best of them in a performance, performance-wise? You know, like for my son has a different trigger than somebody else.
Yep.
Like, and maybe he you know, I think he's excellent off the court, but he could have a trigger on the court.
Yeah.
So like, I'm hoping you can like find that in him and bring that out.
Yeah.
And believe me, we're gonna.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
About each one of the kids, we're gonna have a long conversation with Carlos about that. So I know exactly what.
Yeah.
I know what Ramir needs.
Yeah, Ramir's a great kid. You know, but there's like a little bit like he doesn't go to his potential. So I'm just like curious, like how do you find that? How do you bring that out?
And this was something very interesting. He believes, though just the way we believe, to make things more individual as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
So
especially with sports psychology.
right, I would think so. But it's probably interesting that maybe it's good for them to be around friends too, and they're like, they're thinking that too, or
everything.
They can learn from each other too.
All of this is as intentional as possible, right? Like let's say, for example, if I get to have a conversation with one of your kiddos, it's gonna take me a long time to be able to like break their shell because they have no idea who I am.
Right.
But getting them to start in like a group basis, it gets to normalize a little bit of those type of conversations, right? Every single course that has been created, so like the 4 different courses that have been created, like again, as intentional as possible from a philosophy standpoint.
Right.
It's like the things that I went through in my grad school studies and the things that I've been able to see just on a daily basis at the professional level, right? Like, for example, awareness, attention, concentration, including even, for example, the appreciation component, being able to reflect, being able to like increase their confidence, like all of those things are things that from a foundational standpoint can help anyone. It's more on like the generic side.
Right.
But to your point, every single kid is different, and every single kid is going to need a little bit more of one or a little bit more of another in terms of the skills that we're talking about, right? So the idea that the thing that I've been able to see help a lot is having all of these other teammates that can share their experience, because we can start understanding, that sounds a little bit like me, but not to 100%. Or that doesn't sound like me, but that's interesting because I've never thought about that before, right? And so maybe if I try that next time that I play, I'm gonna play a little more competitively, right? The last thing that I do wanna say with all of this is like, at the end of the day, we're still talking about like a group-based type of service, right? And so it's never going to be like your one-on-one for like a full hour, really diving into your own performance.
Right.
This is scratching the surface for that and opening the door for something like that to happen eventually down the road. So all of your kids, for example, at some point in their lives, hopefully, they do get the experience of actually doing some therapeutic work themselves, right? Because they're gonna be adults with families and with different lives and challenges. this type of work is going to help open the doors for them later on in their lives to be even more willing to tap into something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I'm curious about 3 things. First, what's the deadline to sign up? When does the program start? And the last thing is, when you're with the kids, is it like, okay, they're in the room and parents out, or is it parents also? Like, how do you do that?
Great question. In terms of when is the deadline to be able to sign up? Before July 1st, yes. I would say. Start date would be the first week of July, so next week.
Yeah.
And then in terms of parents being with the kids in the sessions, just kids. And then parents, hopefully giving them the space to be able to like actually engage and share, and something that might be a little bit challenging to share in front of mom or dad. Maybe it's different if mom and dad are not in the room. But also remember that you all have those 2 sessions as well as a parent unit, where you all are also going to be getting a lot of this, all of the tools that we're going to be working on. And the thing that I didn't mention before that I think it's important is, once you sign up and once we create the cohort, what I end up doing is I get all of you guys' phone numbers and we create a WhatsApp group. And in the WhatsApp group, that's where we're gonna be sending like all the recordings. And that's where I'm gonna be sending like weekly resources, whether it is a video of somebody explaining the skill of the week, right? Like a professional athlete explaining the skill of the week, so that you all can see it with the athletes, with your kids as well. And then we're also gonna be sending like the PDFs at the end of each month with the summary of like the skills that were learned and the tools for the parents in how to best support the kids in terms of the skills that were learned. So it's not necessarily just the sessions, parent sessions, it's also more like week to week, a little bit of a support through the WhatsApp channel. Me sending you all the resources as well. More questions? You two gotta go?
I can say just the last thing very quickly about coaching. Guys, I always tell people, you guys, Howard and Randall, you guys positive. I already know myself talking about how I'm going to develop the players if I don't develop the coaches. Okay? Just for you guys to have an idea, I bring Bruno in 2018 to become a coach when I was the director up here. My relationship with him, it's like a family thing, not just with him, with Felipe, Vitor, all those guys. And I guarantee we work a lot on their mental health too, to make sure they're gonna understand a little bit more about sports psychology. Even each coach is placed. Like I can give an example. Vitor is the director of school, the youngest age. He's really good in that younger age. Then we always ask the players to move to Felipe, who's a good transitional coach. And Bruno is our last layer of knowledge about futsal. Bruno knows a lot about futsal, a lot of important things. I myself, Felipe and Vitor, we don't know because we didn't become a futsal coach in Brazil when he was. Of course, Bruno has his personalities, and the reason about him become academy coach is because Bruno likes to push his players to get better repetitions, to improve, and he's definitely in the right place with the right kids. And I guarantee he also understands how to help those kids, but he's also trying to get better, how to help himself and become a better coach for all of them. Okay, I can guarantee you guys all of that. You guys in great hands, and I think with Carlos right now, Coach Honey and the speed agility, all those details, guys, like missing pieces to develop players. And I hope, and I believe we are the first club who are doing this right now. Mm-hmm. And I hope other clubs follow us and do the same. Okay. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna be outside. You guys can talk to me also.
Same thing. I'm gonna be around here until like 7 p.m. So like, if you all wanna just chat a little bit more, like, feel free to just come and see me too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.